I held the envelope in my hands. Just an ordinary envelope, white, creased at the corners. But the weight of it, it crushed me. My hands were trembling, I could barely open it. Dear, I muttered under my breath, almost choking. I froze at the first lines. You are no longer required to send money. In the eyes of the family, you are dead. Dead. Me. Dead. I laughed at first. A hollow, broken laugh. No, no, this has to be a joke. I read it again, then again, every word landed like a hammer. I could feel my chest tightening. I grabbed my phone, dialing Uncle Hamid's number with shaky hands. It rang, and rang. I could almost hear my heartbeat in the silence. Uncle Hamid, this letter. What is this? My voice cracked. There was a pause. Then his low, deliberate tone. Abdul, sit down. I suppose I owe you an explanation. An explanation? You call this an explanation? That I sip and dead? That everything I sent, every single rupee, is gone? Rage burned hot in my chest. Do you even hear yourself? He sighed, heavy, like the weight of the world rested on him. It's SEP's complicated. Beta, you weren't SEPT here. You didn't SEPT integrate. Your money, it's SEP's been managed. Managed? Managed? You mean stolen, Don set you, or spent while telling me I didn't set exist. I slammed my fist on the table. The letter fluttered to the floor. Explain this, Hamid. How can a family just erase a person? He hesitated. His words came slower, measured. We thought you had left us. That you had abandoned us. Abandoned. The word felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Abandoned? I sent money for years. I worked nights. I skipped meals. I lived like a shadow so you could do this. My hands shook. Do you even know what I sacrificed? I know, he whispered. But it wasn't guilt. Not really, just weariness. Memories flashed behind my eyes. Mom's words on my birthday, her trembling hands as she opened the gift I sent. Cousin Zara pretending she never needed anything. The nights I counted my wages, deciding if I could send a little more this month. All of it wiped away. I don't understand, I said, voice almost breaking. How do you just erase a person? Call them dead? Say they don't exist? You were distant, he said finally. We thought we were protecting ourselves. Maybe we overreacted. Maybe? Protecting yourselves? My laughter was bitter. Protecting yourselves from me? From the person who loved you? Who worked himself to dust for you? There was silence. Only the hum of the ceiling fan. My rage mixed with disbelief. My hands gripped the edge of the table. I felt cold and hot at once. Numb, alive, dead, all at the same time. I have to see this for myself, I muttered. I need to hear from everyone. Face to face. No more letters. No more lies. Hamid didn't set protest. Not immediately. Fine. But, Abdul, be careful. This will change things. I don't care anymore, I said. My voice hardened. They already changed me. They already killed me in their eyes. Now it's my turn to see what real, and what fake. I looked down at the letter again. The words seemed to mock me. Dead. Erased. Forgotten. I crumpled it in my hands. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Only the thought that had begun to grow in the darkest corner of my mind. I will not stay dead. Not in their world. Not while they live in mine. I stuffed the letter into my pocket and walked out the door. The city felt different that evening. Cold, harsh, and somehow ready for what was coming. I sat on the edge of my bed, the letter from yesterday still burning a hole in my pocket. My phone buzzed. Another message from Zara. Another laugh at my expense. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Their words had become meaningless. I closed my eyes and let the memories hit me. Abdul, Beta, help them. It's family, Mom had said, her voice soft, trembling, her hands brushing my cheek like a blessing. I was 17. I had just gotten my first paycheck, and instead of keeping it for myself, I sent it home. Always home. I remembered skipping lunch after lunch, saving every rupee, nights at the factory, my fingers raw, my back aching, counting the coins I'd send across borders. Every overtime shift, every secret loan I took, they were for them, for family, For love, or at least what I thought was love. I whispered into the darkness. Was it all just this? To be erased? My phone buzzed again. I let it sit there, ignored. I had hundreds of messages I never answered. Hundreds of missed calls. Each one a reminder that my sacrifices had meant nothing. I remembered Mom again. Abdul? Don't worry. They'll see. One day they'll understand. She had trusted me to carry the weight of everyone, and I did. Blindly. But now, understand, I muttered, shaking my head. They erased me. They pretended I didn't exist. I saw myself in the mirror, hollow eyes, jaw tight, a man shaped by years of giving, bending, breaking, and now standing on the edge of rage. I wasn't weak, not anymore, but the pain, it was sharp, like shards of glass under my skin. I could hear Mom's voice again, in my memory. Family, always family. Always family. I had believed it. I had given everything. And what did they give me back? Letters calling me dead. Laughter behind my back. A betrayal so deep it left me gasping for air. I thought about Zara. Cousin Zara with her fake smiles and sharp tongue. He's dead. We don't need him anymore. I spat on the floor. Her voice echoed in my head like a cruel song. I grabbed a notebook. My hands shook as I wrote. All sacrifices. All late nights. All money sent. All love given. Gone. The more I wrote, the heavier it felt. But writing made it real. It wasn't just a letter anymore. It was a crime. They had stolen my life while pretending I never existed. I remembered the small things too. Mom saving my favorite sweets, slipping them into my bag, her whispered prayers every night for my safety. For me, and me, sending everything I had, thinking it would protect them. I whispered aloud bitterly, had they ever loved me? Or was I just a wallet? A tear rolled down my cheek. I didn't care if it fell. I let it. Numbness crept over me, thick and cold, freezing my chest. But underneath, a fire sparked. A small, simmering ember. I clenched my fists. If they think I them dead, if they think I them nothing, they them see. The phone buzzed again. Another message from Hamid, another feeble excuse. I didn't read it. I didn't have to. I could feel him squirming already, even through text. I got up, pacing. The room felt smaller now, the shadows stretching longer, pressing against me. Every memory pressed against me. Mom's faith, my sleepless nights, my stolen meals. I had given them pieces of myself. And now I would decide what they were worth. I whispered to no one, and everyone you erased me. But I remember every sacrifice, every betrayal. I not dead. The fire inside me grew stronger. Not loud, not screaming. Silent, calculating, patient, waiting. I looked around my room. The letters I had sent, the receipts, the bank notifications, all reminders of trust, of love, of mistakes they would pay for. The numbness was fading. The despair still lingered, but beneath it, power of someone who had nothing left to lose, and yet everything to reclaim. I sank back onto the bed, staring at the ceiling. Shadows danced like ghosts, but I wasn't afraid. Not anymore. I whispered, finally with a steady, cold voice. They going to regret this. Every single one of them. I dialed her number with trembling fingers. Cousin Zara, the one smiling in my nightmares. I didn't want an apology. I didn't even want the truth. Yet I needed it, needed to hear it from her lips. Hello? Her voice was light, teasing, carefree. Zara, it's me, Abdul, I said, my voice tight, controlled. There was a pause, then a soft laugh. Abdul, oh wow, I didn't think you ever call. I got your letter, I spat, trying to keep my calm. This Sita. I sipped dead septum nonsense. What is this? Another laugh, louder now. Dead? Oh sweetie, that sib's just what we decided. You know you vanished? We had to move on. Money-wise, life-wise, we just, adjusted. Adjusted? I laughed bitterly. You stole from me, you erased me, how dare you? How dare you laugh? Oh Abdul, she said, mock pity in her tone. You really believed we needed you? We were just being practical. I slammed my fist on the desk. Hard, my knuckles stung, my chest heaved. Practical, you spent my money and pretended I didn't exist. That's not practical, Zara. That's criminal. That's betrayal. Pure, raw betrayal. Oh, come on. You're exaggerating. It wasn't personal, she said, voice sliding into that false sweetness. Not personal? I hissed. I sent you thousands over the years. Thousands, Zara. Hours of work, skipped meals, borrowed money, for you, for them, and this is how you repay me. There was a pause. I imagined her smirking. I could feel it. And suddenly, rage consumed me. A hot, bright, unforgiving rage that spread from my chest to my fingertips. You knew I supped call eventually, I said, voice lower, dangerous. And now you supped sweating. Arn set you. Abdul, I. Her voice wavered slightly, but it was too little, too late. I want to know everything, I said, cold and precise. Every lie, every excuse, every manipulation. I want it all now. She hesitated. Then almost gleefully she confessed. Fine. You wanted to know, we, the family, decided you had vanished. You weren't replying, you weren't visiting, so we cut you off. Just erased you. And yes, we took the money. We used it. It wasn't about you. It was about survival. Ours. Survival. Their survival. I laughed. Hollow, bitter, and broken. Survival. I repeated. You stole from me, erased me, lied to me, and call it survival. You didn't survive. You thrived on me. Yes, she said, almost mockingly. Maybe we did. I dropped the phone onto the table. My hands shook. My vision blurred. My mind spun, replaying years of loyalty, of sacrifices, of blind faith. I had trusted them, believed them, and they had eaten me alive, piece by piece, behind my back. Then the fear hit me. Cold, sharp. Had I been blind all this time? All those smiles, all those thank yous, all those warm words, they were just masks. I had been feeding a lie they were living, and I had been too stupid, too loyal, to see it. I picked up the phone again, recording her confession silently. Every word mattered. Every syllable, a weapon. I whispered to myself. You think you've won, but silence is no longer my prison. I started making lists in my notebook. Dates, amounts, messages, missed calls. Each lie I could prove. Each betrayal I could expose. My anger was no longer just heat. It was strategy, precision. My mind shifted, cold and calculating. I remembered Uncle Hamid's hesitant words from yesterday. He thought I was distant, that I had abandoned them. Now I understood. The lie had started there. He gave them permission to erase me. My own family had signed my death certificate with words and laughter. I felt a strange thrill in the dark. The betrayal was primal. Yes, but power was mine now. And patience. Silent, watchful, patient. I could hear their footsteps, their laughter in my imagination. Each sound mocked me, but each sound also gave me fuel. I would track them. I would record them. Every lie would be exposed. Every betrayal, paid back. I whispered to the empty room, my voice low, cold. You thought I was gone. You thought I was dead. But I slept still here, watching, remembering, and planning. I pulled up old bank statements on my laptop. Receipts, transfers, conversations, emails, proof of every sacrifice they had hidden from me. The plan began to form in my mind, like a blueprint for fire. No one knew yet. Not Hamid, not Zara, not the rest. Silence had been their weapon, but silence would be mine too, until the moment I struck. I leaned back in my chair. The shadows of my apartment seemed darker now, longer, pressing in closer. Perfect. They fit the mood. The storm I was brewing inside. You've underestimated me for years, I muttered, voice barely audible. And now you will see. I turned off my laptop. The night was quiet, but my mind was loud. Every betrayal, every lie, every stolen rupee etched into me like a scar. And deep inside I felt it, that subtle, undeniable fire. The fire that would burn through their lies, their laughter, their world. I was alive. They were not safe. Not anymore. I met Sami at the cafe. My hands shaking more than I cared to admit. He didn't say anything at first, just studied my face like he already knew the storm inside me. Abdul, you look like hell, he said finally. I feel worse, I muttered. I need your help. All of it, the money, the lies. I need proof. He nodded. We still find it. Step by step. Step by step. I liked that. I had no choice now but to move slow, methodical. My rage couldn't burn the plan before it even started. We started at the bank. Old accounts, old transfers. Each ledger, each statement, a map of betrayal. Look at this, Sammy said, pointing at a screen. All your transfers here, then gone. Nothing logged as received by them. I leaned closer. My stomach churned. Gone? They just took it? Yes. Spent, transferred, who knows where, and no one admits it. Not a word. I swallowed hard. Every rupee gone, and they said I sept am dead, that I never existed. Sami Sep's face darkened. That Sep's insane. You've been robbed while being erased. That Sep's brutal. Brutal? I laughed bitterly. It's Sep's personal. It's Sep's betrayal, and it's Sep's war. I started recording calls to the banks, saving emails, printing screenshots. Every small detail mattered. Every lie mattered. Why didn't you ever question this before? Sami asked quietly. I trusted them, I said, voice low, almost ashamed. I thought family was instead capable of this. Sami shook his head. Some people hide their claws until it's too late. I clenched my fists. Then it's time they see mine. We dug deeper. Old loan agreements, transfers disguised as expenses, messages from my own accounts confirming money sent, yet denied by my family. Each revelation hit like a gut punch. But with each hit, my anger sharpened into clarity. This is it, I whispered. Every word, every transaction, this is what I need. The bank officer we talked to was hesitant. I can give you all this, it's sensitive. Sensitive? I said, my tone razor sharp. Sensitive is them lying to me for years, stealing my money, erasing me from my own family. That's sensitive. Give me the records. He hesitated, then sighed, handing over the printouts.
Fine. But be careful. People can get defensive.
Defensive? I scoffed. I show them the truth. Defensive is the least of their worries. Back at Sammy's place, we laid everything out. Each sheet, each screenshot, each transaction told a story of deception. They had taken my labor, my trust, my belief, and turned it into their profit while pretending I was nothing. I traced my finger along the lines of numbers. They think silence hides them. That's why they sep's wrong. Silence is mine now too, until it's sep's time. Sami looked at me, worried. Abdul, this is going to change everything. You ready for that? I nodded slowly. I am ready. They forced my hand. Every lie they ever told it ends. And I am the one ending it. I recorded more calls, saved every WhatsApp message, backed up emails, organized proofs like weapons in a digital arsenal. Each click, each document, each screenshot, a brick in the path of my revenge. This isn't just about money anymore, I said quietly, staring at the files. It's about showing them I exist, that I mattered, that betrayal has consequences. Sami rubbed his forehead. You stare calm, but that fire in you, it's different now, cold, calculated. Good, I said. Cold, calculated, perfect. Every detail fed the plan, their arrogance, their lies, their laughter at my absence. It all became fuel, no more blind rage, no more pointless fury. This was precision, strategy. And with strategy came a strange satisfaction. Not joy, not yet, but the power of finally being in control. I whispered to myself. They erased me. But I remember everything, and now, I decide what happens next. The shadows in the room deepened, stretching across the walls, silent witnesses to my plotting. Each document, each proof, a testament that I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a storm, waiting to break. Sammy glanced at me, uneasy. You serious about this, huh? I smiled, cold, quiet. More than anything, they shall learn what it means to cross me. Every lie, every betrayal will be accounted for. I looked at the pile of papers, my scars, my effort, my stolen trust, and I felt the fire rise. No longer panic, no longer despair, just a slow, inevitable power building. The first step was done. The trail of lies was uncovered, and the next step, well, that would be theirs to fear. I walked into the gathering, heart hammering, pretending calm, smiled, nodded, small talk like nothing had happened. Everyone thought I didn't notice. Everyone thought I didn't know. Perfect. Abdul? You sir here, someone called, a cousin I barely remembered. I nodded. Casual. Yes. Thought I sept drop by. I scanned the room. Familiar faces, laughter spilling like poison, and then I heard it. The laughter that made my blood boil. She seps finally here, Aunt Sophia said loudly, her tone dripping mockery. Though I hear he seps dead. Strange, isn't it? I suppose miracles happen. I froze for a heartbeat, then my mask returned. I laughed lightly, as if I didn't hear her, as if it didn't cut me in half. Oh, Sophia, a neighbor murmured, trying not to laugh, you shouldn't joke like that. Poor boy. Poor boy. They saw me as nothing, a ghost they could laugh at. I felt my fingers curl around my glass. Calm, controlled, but the fire inside, relentless. I drifted closer to the conversations, listening, names, places, transactions, little details they thought I hadn't heard. Zara, Hamid, even a few cousins. I caught every slip, every laugh. She's sending money all these years, and he doesn't even know, someone said. I almost smiled at the irony. All these years and they thought they were clever. I sipped my drink, nodding politely, watching their lips move. Each word was a revelation. A confession. I collected it silently, storing every syllable like evidence. Sophia leaned toward the neighbors. Honestly, I don't know why anyone would waste money on him. Dead, forgotten, it's safer this way. The words hit like a punch. Dead, forgotten, Ed clenched my jaw so tight it ached. But I didn't respond. Not yet. I let it settle, let it marinate. I moved through the crowd, smiling, laughing, asking trivial questions. Each interaction a subtle probe, a gentle push to see who would slip, who would reveal the cracks beneath their confidence. Zara noticed me studying her. You've changed, she said, trying to sound casual. Have I? I replied, voice light, teasing. But my eyes never left hers, or maybe just been invisible until now. Her smile faltered, just slightly. That was enough. I overheard Hamid talking quietly with a neighbor. He still never know. Everything suff's fine. All handled. Fine? Handled. I noted it all. Each lie they spun, each false assurance became fuel. Their arrogance, their ignorance. It was mine to dismantle. I moved toward Sophia again. I've missed a lot, haven't I? I asked softly, almost casual. Oh, Abdul, she said, mock sympathy in her tone. You missed life itself, but then again you were dead. Ghosts aren't supposed to attend parties, are they? I smiled, cold, sharp. Ghosts have the best view, I said, low enough that only she could hear. My eyes locked on hers, and I could see the flicker, the crack in her mask. I drifted back, blending in, observing. Each laugh, each glance, each whispered comment, a map of betrayal, but also a map of weakness. By the time the evening ended, I had collected enough words, gestures, slips, confessions, every seed of doubt planted in my mind, I now planted in theirs. Subtle truths, small observations, questions that made them pause without noticing. Did you ever think he was different? I asked a neighbor casually, voice soft. Maybe he noticed things we did instead? The pause was delicious. Their confidence, usually so unshakable, wavered, and I smiled inwardly. Small cracks, big consequences later. Walking out, I felt the power shift inside me. For years I had been invisible, giving money, giving love, giving trust, and now, they underestimated me. They thought I was weak, they thought I had nothing. I had everything they didn't. Knowledge, evidence, patience, and a plan. Outside, the night air was sharp, cold against my skin. I took a deep breath. Each step away from that house solidified my resolve. I whispered to myself, low and certain. They laughed at my death. They humiliated me. But I am still here, watching, remembering. And soon, everything they trust will crumble. Each flicker of candlelight in the gathering, each smile they gave each other, every whispered word, they were all part of the tapestry. And I was the shadow weaving through it, pulling threads quietly, carefully. Sophia's laughter echoed in my mind as I walked away. The seed of suspicion was planted. The cracks were forming. And I was just getting started. They thought the ghost was powerless. But the ghost remembers everything. And this ghost has patience. By the time I reached my car, the night felt alive, dangerous, perfect. I slid in, closing the door softly. Silence wrapped around me, calm. But inside, the fire burned brighter than ever. This wasn't just revenge anymore, it was inevitability. And soon, they sept understand. I stepped into Farah's office, the smell of leather and polished wood filling the space. Calm, calculated. I couldn't afford anything else. She looked up from her desk, eyes sharp, assessing me like she could see straight through the anger boiling under my skin. Abdul, she said, voice steady, have a seat. Let Stets talk. I sat, hands folded, pretending composure, but my mind raced. Every rupee, every lie, every betrayal. This ends now. I need to know what steps possible, I said, voice low, all of it. Every transaction they stole, every false record. I want it back and I want them accountable. Farah leaned back. You understand this isn't set, just about money, right? I nodded. I do. It's seps about respect, recognition, justice. They can sept erase me and keep smiling. She studied me for a moment. Yusteb been wronged, severely, and Yusteb documented it well. But if we move forward, it has to be precise. Strategy matters more than emotion here. I let that sink in. Strategy, precision, not blind rage, not desperation. I had spent years giving, bending, trusting. Now I needed to control. I said I'm done reacting, I said. From now on, every move is deliberate. Farah pulled a folder toward me. Here sips what we can do. First we validate every transfer, every loan, every hidden payment. Then we establish legal ownership and prove intent to deceive. Finally, we expose it publicly if needed. But carefully, timing is everything. I nodded, taking notes like a soldier preparing for battle. Dates, amounts, lies. Emotional scars, each line in my notebook was a reminder. I had power now, I had evidence, and I knew how to use it. Farah? What about their claims that I vanished? That I abandoned them? I asked, voice sharper now. Does that hold any weight? Not at all, she said firmly. You have records, witnesses, and proof of intent. Your absence is irrelevant when every transaction proves your involvement and their deceit. A shiver ran down my spine. Absence irrelevant. Lies exposed. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Control. I wasn't a victim anymore. I was a force. I leaned back in my chair. For years I gave everything. Money, trust, love, and they pretended I didn't exist. Farah didn't interrupt. She let me speak, and I let the anger pour out, carefully measured, like fuel being poured into a flame I now controlled. They laughed at me, humiliated me, and for what? Their convenience? Their greed? I clenched my fists. Not anymore. This is about consequences. She looked at me. Abdul, are you ready for this? Once you move, there's no going back. Their world will change. Your world will too. I swallowed hard. I ready. I just did not know how to see it clearly before. Now I do. Every lie they ever told me, every betrayal, it seps all mapped, and I the one orchestrating the reveal. Farah nodded. Good. Step 1 is gathering evidence. Step 2 is planning the confrontation. Step 3 is ensuring they can hide behind excuses. I jotted everything down in my notebook. Dates, amounts, emails, messages, each note, a small dagger aimed at their arrogance. I traced a line through their years of deceit. Each strike on the page was power reclaimed. Yuseb changed, Farah said quietly. Yuseb no longer the hurt, naive giver. Yuseb strategic, precise, dangerous in the right way. Dangerous. Yes, I whispered, almost to myself. Dangerous in the way they never imagined. I could feel the shift inside me. Anger had transformed into calculation, pain had evolved into strategy, and betrayal had become the blueprint. Farah pushed a folder toward me. Document everything. Don't set to leave gaps. Emotional evidence counts too. Their arrogance is your ally, it makes them careless. I took it, flipping through the pages. Names, dates, transactions, excuses, half-truths, they were all there. Every lie I had been blind to before now had a place in the narrative I was building. This isn't set just about money, I said. my voice firmer now. It sets about showing them I exist. That erasing me isn't set possible, that betrayal carries weight. Farah leaned back, watching me. You Stev got the fire, but now channel it, calm, methodical. Let each move force them to reveal themselves. I nodded, closing the folder. I spent years giving. Now I take control. They think they buried me, but I been planning quietly, strategizing, observing, collecting, and now, every secret, every slip, it mine to expose. I left her office feeling lighter, not in relief, not yet, but in purpose. The fog of despair was gone. I had direction, I had a plan, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like a victim. I whispered to myself as I walked down the city street. They erased me. They humiliated me. They thought I was powerless, but they don't know. I've changed. I'm precise. I'm unstoppable. And soon they'll see. Every note, every proof, every whisper in my notebook was now a weapon, and the moment to strike carefully, perfectly, was drawing closer. This was no longer about being hurt. It was about reclaiming everything they had stolen. Respect, recognition, justice. And I was ready to take it. I stared at my screen, heart steady, fingers poised over the keyboard, no hesitation, no second guessing. Years of trust and betrayal boiled down to this moment. The truth, public, visible, irreversible. I opened a fresh post, uploaded the first screenshot, a transfer from my account to theirs, then a second, and a third. Letters, emails, messages, each proof of their deceit, each proof of my erasure. I typed slowly, deliberately. For years I was told I was dead. My family erased me, and yet they took every rupee I sent, every effort, every sacrifice. Here is the truth. A deep breath. Hit post. It went live. Almost immediately, notifications flooded in. Likes, shares, comments. People I hadn't spoken to in years. Neighbors, friends, distant cousins, all reading, reacting, gasping. I smiled, cold and controlled as I scrolled. Their world was cracking. Each notification was a tiny hammer against the walls they had built. Then a message, from Zara. Abdul, what are you doing? Stop this, this isn't set you. I read it aloud, voice quiet but sharp. This is exactly me, the me you never wanted to exist. Another notification popped up, a friend tagging Hamid. Are these true? Abdul, please explain. I leaned back, letting the tension stretch. Their panic was palpable, even through a screen. I imagined their laughter, the ease with which they mocked me, evaporating into fear. Zara called. Her voice trembled over the line. Abdul, you can post this. You can people will think. They already know, I interrupted. Calm. They already see. You erased me, Zara. You humiliated me. And this is the mirror. You staring into it now. You don't understand. It sits complicated. We didn't it wasn't sit. I laughed softly, bitter. It was instead complicated. It was cruel, simple, clean, brutal, and now everyone can see it. Every lie, every betrayal, every moment you thought I didn't notice. Abdul, please, her voice cracked. I could almost hear her scrambling in the background, papers shuffling, people whispering, panic, desperation. I've been silent for years, I said, voice steady, almost serene, watching, planning, collecting, observing. And now, I speak, publicly, permanently, visible. You wanted me dead? I 'em alive. I 'em louder than ever, and everyone can hear me. She screamed into the phone, words broken, pleading. Abdul Don Sat, do this. Uncle Hamid, the others, they sell. They will what? I asked, voice quiet but heavy. See the truth? Understand that you can erase me? That every joke, every lie, every false claim comes with consequences. Yes, they will see. And it's about time. I ended the call, watching as notifications piled higher. Shares, comments, messages. Even Hamid's name trending in my small community group. Their masks were cracking. Every friend, every neighbor, every witness who once laughed now read, reacted, whispered. I allowed myself a moment, just a brief flicker of satisfaction. Their confidence, their arrogance, their casual cruelty, evaporating. and I watched it burn slowly, beautifully, without touching it. Then came a message from a neighbor I hadn't seen in years. Abdul, I can believe it. We never knew. I typed back, cold, precise, now you do, and so does everyone else. This is the truth. I am not dead, and I will not be erased. Another post. A summary, clean, concise, the timeline of transfers, letters, lies, and confessions. I watched as friends and distant relatives began connecting the dots. Whispers turned to online debates. Curiosity turned to outrage. Zara texted again. Frantic. You can post the emails. Delete it, please. I responded simply, already seen, already shared, already permanent. You erased me. I reclaim the narrative, publicly, permanently. The irony was delicious. They had thought me powerless, invisible, dead, and now, the very people who mocked my absence, who laughed at my name, were forced to witness my presence. Loud, visible, dominant. I scrolled again. Comments from old friends, neighbors, distant family, questions, shock. Some disbelief. A few support. It didn't matter, what mattered was visibility. Accountability, proof, justice, raw and unflinching. And then, in the middle of it, a realization hit me. The thrill. Not just revenge but control. Strategy executed perfectly. I didn't scream. I didn't attack. I simply revealed, and the panic, the unraveling, the desperation, it unfolded exactly as I had imagined. I leaned back, hands folded, silent, each post, each comment, each share, a subtle, precise strike. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need to rage. I let the evidence speak, let their panic speak. Zora called again. This time her voice was near breaking. Abdul, you stir, ruining everything. You can fix this. Uncle Hamid, they still. I smiled softly, almost gently. I stumped not fixing anything. I stumped revealing everything. You erased me. I returned the gesture. Not with silence, but truth. She hung up. I watched her desperation fade into silence. On my screen, notifications still pouring in. Every like, every share, every comment, a confirmation. The public mirror reflected exactly what I wanted. I whispered to myself. Low and satisfied. You erased me. You mocked me. You humiliated me. Now, the world sees. And there's no undoing it. For the first time in years, I felt complete. Not joy, not relief, but power, control, justice, visible, undeniable, and unstoppable. The house felt smaller when I walked in this time. Tight. Stifling. Every laugh I once envied now sounded hollow, fractured, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. I saw Hamid first, his shoulders slumped, eyes darting, a man who suddenly realized the ground beneath him had disappeared. Abdul, his voice trembled. We need to talk, privately. I didn't sit. I didn't nod. I just stared, too late. Too late, he stammered. I didn't know it would go public. Didn't know? I echoed, voice calm, cold. You erased me, mocked me, took what wasn't yours, and now the world sees. He swallowed hard. Abdul, please. We can fix this. It doesn't have to. Fix this, I interrupted, stepping closer. My presence alone shifted the room. Fix this. You had years to fix it. You chose lies, erasure, betrayal. Fix it. There's nothing left to fix, only consequences. Hamid's lips pressed into a thin line. I could see the guilt crawling over him like shadows. He wanted a path back, but the road was gone. Zara appeared then, flustered, frantic, her arrogance nowhere in sight. Save it, Zara, I said softly, letting the weight of my words hang. Every lie you told, every laugh at my estate, every rupee you spent as if I never existed, I said as collected it. I said as shared it, and now you face it. Her hands shook, clutching at her phone like a lifeline. I didn't think you sut. I didn't You didn't think, I repeated. That exactly it. That the arrogance, the blindness. You erased me, and you assumed I stay silent forever. You assumed I vanish like you claimed. She looked down, biting her lip, a child caught in a storm. Abdul, please. Let talk it out. Privately, can we? No, I said, voice slicing the space between us. We talk here, in front of everyone, every witness, every neighbor, every friend. You mocked me publicly, now you experience the mirror. Hamid tried to interject. Abdul, calm down. It doesn't have to. It does, I said firmly. It must. Your silence was my erasure. My silence would be your undoing. And now, you face it. I walked slowly around the room, letting my eyes meet every face. Some avoided me, some stared horrified, and I smiled, just slightly. The power shift was complete. Zarasip's voice broke. Abdul, forgive me. I was wrong. I never. Wrong? I said, the word sharp. Wrong doesn't cover erasing a life. Wrong doesn't cover humiliation and theft. Wrong doesn't undo years of lies. Hamid Sep's hands trembled. Abdul, we can compensate. Everything. I stepple, give it back. We stepple, compensate, I echoed. You think money alone can undo erasure? You think proofs, letters, screenshots, every lie I've collected vanish because you say sorry? Too late. Silence settled, heavy and suffocating, the air thick with fear, regret, shame. I let it linger, let it sink into their bones. I was your family, I said softly, letting the vulnerability hang before it hardened into steel. I sacrificed, I gave, I trusted, and in return you erased me. And now, everyone knows, the world knows, and there's no rewriting this story. Zarasep's eyes welled with tears. Abdul, I never thought. I'm sorry. I looked at her, not with anger, but with precision. Sorry doesn't restore trust. Sorry doesn't reclaim years. Sorry doesn't undo what you tried to erase. This is your reckoning, and it steps public, permanent. Hamid Sep's shoulders slumped further. Abdul, please. Please, I said, voice low, resonant. You shall get no please. Only the truth, only exposure, only what you deserve. You erased me, you mocked me, you humiliated me, and now, justice isn't silent. It's undeniable, visible, inescapable. I paused, letting the words imprint. They flinched, they shrank. I could feel the collapse beneath their feet, the fragility of every lie, every false laugh, every casual betrayal crumbling. You thought I was powerless, I said finally, stepping back, but power isn't taken in silence. Power is revealed, and now, the truth is mine to hold. And you hold nothing but guilt, fear, and exposure. Zarasip's face was pale. Abdul, what are you going to do? I smiled, cold and quiet. Nothing violent, nothing physical. I don't need to. The exposure itself, it steps justice enough. You've been humiliated, confronted, stripped of your arrogance, and the world has seen it. That is enough. Hamid nodded slightly, defeated. I understand. It's done. Yes, I said, voice unwavering. It's done. The years of mockery, lies and betrayal, ended. And I am no longer powerless. I am the orchestrator. I am the reckoning. I turned and walked out, leaving silence behind me. No argument, no fight, just the weight of truth settling over them like a storm they could neither escape nor deny. Outside, I breathed in the night air, sharp, clean, satisfying. Every step I took echoed the reclamation of my life, my narrative, my power. For the first time I felt it fully, the catharsis of justice, the quiet thrill of victory, the undeniable truth that the powerless had returned as a force, and this force would never be ignored again. The room was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that presses against your chest and forces reflection. I sat back on the couch, hands clasped, staring at the fading light through the window. Sammy broke it first, leaning forward, elbows on his knees. You did it, he said simply. I gave a small, hollow laugh. Did it or survived it? He frowned. There's a difference. I looked at him, eyes raw but steady. Yeah, surviving is realizing people you trusted, betrayed you, did it for years, and still, you walk out alive. Maybe stronger, maybe scarred, but alive. Sami nodded, quiet. He seen me at my lowest, he held the pieces when I felt invisible. And stronger. I let out a breath I hadn't uttered as Stet realized I was holding. Stronger, yes, but it seps a strange thing. Victory isn't sept loud. It isn't sept the chaos I imagined. It seps stillness, reflection, knowing I survived the worst and didn't sept lose myself entirely. He leaned back, silent for a moment. I never doubted you, Stet, get justice. But watching you, all of it, steps different. Different? I asked. Yeah, Sammy said, voice low. You stir not just angry anymore. You stir precise, strategic, that rage you had, you turned it into clarity. I smiled faintly. Clarity has its price. Sami tilted his head. And, scars, I admitted. Emotional, psychological. I see them every day. They don't set hurt like before, not sharply, but they separ there. Reminders of every betrayal, every late night worry, every rupee they took while pretending I didn't set exist. He nodded, eyes steady. You carried that weight alone for years. Now, the weight is different. Not gone. Just owned, I said. I own the scars, not the betrayers. I can look back without being dragged into the darkness. A long pause. Sami Sep's eyes softened. And what about them? I let out a quiet laugh, bitter but controlled. Hamid, Sarah, the family, they learned too late. The truth is permanent, public, irreversible. But I don't set dwell on their fear. I dwell on mine, on what I Sep survived, on what I Sep become. Sami leaned forward, resting a hand on my shoulder. You Sep changed. I have, I admitted. Flawed, scarred, stronger, yes, but flawed. And that Sep's, okay. I can step pretend the past didn't step leave marks. Some wounds never fully heal. Some scars are trophies, Sammy said quietly. Reminders you overcame what could Seb destroyed most people. I nodded, eyes distant. Trophies, yes, but silent ones. No applause, no celebration. Just quiet reflection. Acknowledgement of endurance. That Sep's my victory. We sat in silence, letting the weight of the past months settle between us. Memories flickered, the letters, the laughter, the cold dismissal, the public exposure, the collapse, all of it. Every moment etched in my mind. I finally spoke, voice low. I realized something through all this. Trust is fragile. Betrayal can cut deeper than any physical wound. But survival teaches you to value clarity, patience, and inner strength. To see who Sep's truly loyal. To understand your own limits. Sammy nodded. And your limits? I smiled faintly. Stronger than I thought. Smarter than I felt. Anger, channeled properly, can be a tool, not just a reaction. He chuckled softly. And the peace? Bittersweet, I admitted. There's peace in truth, in exposure, in reclamation, but awareness lingers of my flaws, mistakes, and the fact that some trust will never return. I carry that awareness like scar tissue. Protective, reminding me to be careful, to be vigilant, to not forget the lessons of survival. Sami leaned back, letting the words settle. Sounds like you Sep risen above it. I looked out the window as the sun dipped lower, orange light spilling over the city. I have, I said softly. But not untouched, not whole, just aware. Resilient, capable of carrying the weight of what I Sept lived. And that is enough. He smiled. Then you Sept won. I nodded. A quiet internal acknowledgement. Not loud, not bragging, not revenge-driven anymore. Just acceptance, triumph tempered with reflection. I looked down at my hands, scarred in ways unseen but undeniable. I still won, I whispered. And I still carry these scars as proof, not of weakness, but of survival, strength, awareness, and the quiet victory of truth. The room remained silent, but it felt alive. Alive with reflection. Alive with understanding. Alive with the subtle thrill of having reclaimed not just my story but myself. And in that silence, I finally felt complete. I sipped my coffee, watching sunlight spill across the apartment. It's quiet here, safe. Mine, a life rebuilt brick by brick, from the ashes of betrayal. Morning, my mentor, Lena, says from across the kitchen. Her smile is easy, grounding. Morning, I reply, voice calm, measured, not distracted, not haunted. Present. You look different, she observes. Stronger? I nod, tracing the rim of my cup. Stronger, yes. And aware. Scarred, but aware. Every mistake, every betrayal, it taught me something. Every sleepless night, every doubt, every pang of rage, they built this. She leans back, curious. And the family? I exhale slowly, letting the memory drift like smoke. Justice was served, public, undeniable. I reclaimed my story, but the lesson wasn't sassed in revenge. It was in knowing my own worth, refusing erasure, and walking away with my head high. A flash of anger passes, brief, controlled, then gone. They sipper echoes now, shadows that remind me of who I don't set want to be, not who I am. Lena nods approvingly. And you feel at peace? Peace, I say, a small smile tugging at my lips. Its steps quieter than I expected. Not perfect. Scars don't fit vanish. Some wounds don't fit fully heal. But they say you're mine now, controlled, proof of survival. The phone buzzes. A message from a friend inviting me to a project, a new career opportunity. I glance at it. Thoughtful. All of this is proof I can thrive without toxic ties. I can build, I can grow, I can trust. Carefully. You're embracing life again, Lena says softly. Yes, I answer. Slowly, deliberately. Lessons in my pocket, strength in my step. I carry the scars, but not the chains. I've learned to transform rage into focus, betrayal into wisdom, and pain into power. A moment of reflection passes. I look out the window, city lights shimmering as the day shifts toward evening. I don't just forget, I murmur. I don't just forgive blindly, but I live. I create. I protect what sips mine. Sounds like a life well earned, Lena says, smiling. It is, I whisper, softly, almost to myself, and it sep's only beginning. The weight of the past still lingers, but it fuels me now, not haunts me. I step forward into my life, scar tissue intact, lessons learned, power reclaimed. The survivor in me walks tall, quiet, calm, and unshakable. The chapter ends not with vengeance, but with life. Mine, fully claimed.